Hello and welcome to the final of the 2020 Pugley vlogs with your host Eamon Standing. It's going to be a doozy, and it's a lot lighter than the last month's one about mental health and overworking and creative endeavours. This is the time we're going to be talking about Pugley's redemption in the trial and sentence of Jefferson Pugley. So if you haven't already, and I really hope you've enjoyed the journey, those of you who've stuck throughout the whole thing, go and read the final part of the second trilogy of Jefferson Pugley at pugleycomics.com. This was a really fun one to write, and in a weird way, as writing Jefferson Pugley v Bad Medicine writing Pugley's fall turned out to be my own fall. Perhaps in some way, writing Pugley's redemption could make me realise my own from the place that I'd got myself to, which I think it definitely did. And I mean, sure, so these are all recorded in January of 2020, all these videos, so I'll be intrigued to see where I am at the time this video is actually published. I might do another update at the end of the year. I'll probably do a few throughout the year, I'm not sure, but it's very interesting to see where, throughout the journey of writing the trial and sentence of Jefferson Pugley, where it took me. And I'm not going to go into too much detail, but if my life seemed crazy during the Jefferson Pugley v Bad Medicine, I could not have expected what happened in my life in the during the course of the trial and sentence of Jefferson Pugley. So yeah, it's an interesting one because when I wrote the trial and sentence of Jefferson Pugley, I was probably at not an all-time low, but I'd realised I had a problem. I had a very serious problem with overworking, and the actual drawing, because I write them before I draw them, obviously, coincided with a lot of soul searching and trying to figure things out. And the weird thing about Jefferson Pugley, the trial and sentence of Jefferson Pugley, is unlike any of the other Pugleys, where anything that can be viewed as antagonistic it's an expected antagonism. It's either frictions in a relationship, frictions in your job, with the relationship being roller coaster extraordinaire, frictions with old rivals. They're things that you know. They're the things that you know that could go bad. Whereas in the second Pugley trilogy, it's a lot more inside. There's the perceived loss of something you care about in Takes to the Skies, and its inevitable return. And I guess in V Bad Medicine, the perceived loss of self, or the actual loss of self. But in the trial and sentence of Jefferson Pugley, Pugley is fine to begin with. He's actually okay. He's out on his little nighttime adventure. But I don't want to spoil it, actually. I want to discuss it quite roundly, but the trial and sentence of Jefferson Pugley introduces something that wouldn't have been expected in your life or in Alex's life, and something that's not familiar is actually seeking to harm you. So malevolent, I guess. But I think the tragic thing is, because you can read the book thinking that everything that happens in it was Pugley's fault. Of course it's not, because Pugley's intentions aren't, the intentions of his actions aren't what happens. That all he does is leave a window open. But that action has consequences, and it invites, you might say, or it allows the invitation of evil into Alex's life. And there's a whole struggle throughout that book. At the end of every scene, Pugley looks defeated because he thinks it's his fault, and he could take the responsibility of that, but he's a little dog and he doesn't know how. But by the end of the book, he comes with a choice, is that justice doesn't prevail, but he can claim responsibility over it, and rather poetically, maybe the thing to do in a situation like that is to literally stand in the way and see if you are stronger than what's coming. And that's why I love the ending of Jefferson Pugley's, the trial and sentence of Jefferson Pugley. It is truly his redemption. He's back to as powerful a character as he was in the first trilogy. He's got no doubts by the end of the book, and those last few pages, man. Let's really quickly think without the details. So, leaves the window open. Spoilers. Burgled. Alex gets burgled. Knife point. There's a trial. It falls through. Guy doesn't get what he deserves. Pugley is defeated, but sees him driving in a car, and he leaps out into the road, stands in front of that car, and makes that guy know that he won't yield. And maybe the car will hit him. Obviously, if you've read it, you know. You know what happens. Maybe the car will hit him. Maybe it'll yield. But it's the fact that he stands up to something that should be way more powerful than him, but Jeff is something else. And the thing is, in life, maybe, especially in creative endeavors, maybe you have to just keep on going and eventually plant yourself in the ground and say, no, I'm not moving anymore. And I really love the ending of that book. And so if you haven't already read it, spoilers, the car does yield, and there's some lovely little things that you may not notice, but completely intentional. You'll notice that the guy who robbed Pugley... Oh, it's funny because you don't even know if the guy who's driving the car is dead. That's how unimportant it is to Pugley. But Pugley stands higher than the guy, and Pugley's tiny. He stands higher than the guy who robbed them, burgled them, as that guy lies bleeding on the floor on the asphalt, and he's panting like a dog, and Pugley just stares him down, and there's no satisfaction on Pugley's face. It's just I am more. I love the ending so much, and I really hope you guys did as well. I think the real question still is, after all of this, is Pugley supernatural? And I'll have to tell you that I think it's up to the reader to decide what is. And I know that's such a cop-out, but I think there is so much more that I have planned with Pugley to illustrate whether he is or not. I personally, I would say that maybe he is, but he's at the same time he's just a dog. I really, really hope you have enjoyed reading Jefferson Pugley, and I hope you enjoyed these commentaries. It's been really fun to do. It's gone some dark places, but I've loved writing Jefferson Pugley, and I really want to write more. But Townsend Rogue and the setting are calling me, and I should answer the call. But that doesn't mean that that's the last of you've seen of Pugley. If you really enjoyed the work, please purchase a copy, because you don't know, maybe these single editions will be something one day to have. And I hope they will be. But it's been an honour doing this year of Pugley, and I really hope you've enjoyed it too. Take care. Have a great rest of 2020.